"We will work, we will cook, we will help your home. Please grant us shelter," said the Apache sister. The heat made the air feel like it was moving slowly, and every step felt heavy. In the middle of this endless land, an Apache sister walked with careful steps, leading her younger siblings. She held their hands tightly, as if her grip could protect them from the wide world. Her name was Nala, and she was only 19, but she carried a feeling of strength that made her seem older. Her eyes were calm, but her heart was full of worry. The family had left their home because their village had been forced to move. They had heard many stories of people being pushed away from their land, and they knew they could not stay. The elders had said that the only way to survive was to leave and find a safer place. Nala's younger brother, Tav, was 12. He tried to stay brave, but his face often showed fear. He kept looking behind them, as if expecting danger to appear from the sand. His little sister, Mina, was only 8, and she walked slowly, tired from the long journey. Mina did not understand everything that was happening, but she trusted her sister completely. She knew Nala would protect them. The family had only a few belongings: a small bundle of blankets, a few jars of water, and some food that had been packed quickly. They also had a small basket of dried corn, which they would eat when they became hungry. They had no money, no home, and no promise of safety. But they had each other, and that was the most important thing. As they walked, Nala remembered the days when their home was full of laughter. She remembered the warm fire, the smell of cooking food, and the sound of her mother's voice. She remembered the songs and the stories told by the elders. But now those memories felt like they belonged to a different world. Everything had changed. Nala looked at the sky. It was clear and wide, but it did not feel friendly. She could see the mountains far away, and she knew that beyond them lay a small town where settlers lived. She had heard that the people there were not always kind to her people, but she also heard that some families helped those in need. She hoped they would be one of those families. The desert was not just empty land. It was also full of hidden dangers. The family had to be careful of snakes, of hot rocks, and of running out of water. They had to keep their energy and keep moving. Each day, Nala woke up early before the sun became too strong. She would gather water, and she would try to find shade for the children to rest. She knew that if she stopped, they might not survive. One afternoon, while they were resting under a small rock, Nala heard a sound in the distance. It was the sound of voices, and they were not friendly voices. Nala's heart began to beat faster. She looked at her siblings and told them to stay quiet. She lifted her hand and pointed to the bushes nearby. They moved slowly and quietly, hiding behind the bushes. The voices grew closer. Nala could not see the people yet, but she could feel their presence. She hoped they were not dangerous. She hoped they were just travelers. But the truth was, Nala did not know. She could only wait and hope. When the people finally appeared, Nala saw that they were not soldiers or warriors. They were other travelers also moving through the desert. They looked tired and worn, just like her family. Some of them were families with children. They walked slowly, carrying bundles of their own. Nala felt a small relief. Maybe they were like them. The travelers passed by without noticing them. Nala watched them carefully. She saw the way they walked, the way they looked at the land, and the way they kept their heads low. It was clear that they were also running from something. Nala wondered if their stories were similar. After the travelers passed, Nala spoke softly to her siblings. "We must keep moving," she said. "We cannot stay here for long." Tav nodded. "But where will we go? We are tired." Nala smiled gently. "We will rest when we reach the town. We must keep going now." Mina looked up at her sister with innocent eyes. "Will we be safe there?" Nala's heart hurt at the question. She did not want to lie to her little sister, but she also did not want to scare her. She thought for a moment, then answered carefully. "I think we will find a kind family. We will find shelter. We will be safe." Mina nodded slowly, as if she wanted to believe her sister. Nala knew that she had to be strong not just for herself, but for her siblings. They depended on her and she would not let them down. The days passed slowly. The family walked for hours, then rested for a short time. At night, the desert became cold. The temperature dropped quickly and the stars shined brightly. Nala would sit with her siblings near the fire and tell them stories to keep their minds calm. She told them stories of their ancestors, of brave warriors, and of the beauty of their homeland. She wanted them to remember where they came from, even if they could not return. One night, Tav asked, "Nala, why did they force us to leave? Why can't we stay in our home?" Nala's eyes became wet. She looked at her brother and took a deep breath. "Because sometimes people do not understand each other," she said. "Sometimes they think they are better than others, but we must not let that break us. We must stay strong." Tav nodded, but he still looked sad. Mina leaned on Nala's shoulder and fell asleep. Nala watched her sleeping sister and felt a wave of love and sadness at the same time. She knew that their journey was not over. She knew that there would be more challenges ahead. But she also knew that they were together, and that was a reason to keep going. On the sixth day, they finally saw the first signs of life. Far in the distance, they saw smoke rising from a small settlement. It was a sign of homes, of cooking fires, and of people. Nala's heart began to beat faster. She felt hope rise inside her like a small flame. As they got closer, they saw a few houses made of wood. The town looked quiet and the people seemed busy with their daily work. Nala felt nervous. She did not know how they would be treated. She had heard stories of people being turned away or worse, treated with anger and fear. She knew that they had to be careful. The family stopped at the edge of the town. Nala looked at her siblings and said, "This is our chance. We must be brave." Tav looked at her and asked, "What will we say?" Nala took a deep breath and thought for a moment. She remembered the lessons her mother taught her. She remembered the importance of respect, honesty, and hard work. She knew that she had to show the settlers that they were not dangerous. She had to show them that they were willing to work and help. Nala turned to her siblings and said, "We will speak respectfully. We will ask for shelter. We will offer our help. We will not be afraid." Mina nodded, though she still looked scared. Tav stood tall, trying to look brave. Nala walked forward, holding their small bundle of belongings. She looked at the first house and knocked on the door. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought the people inside would hear it. She waited, and after a moment the door opened slightly. A woman looked out. She was older, with lines on her face that showed a life of hard work. She stared at them with surprise. Her eyes widened when she saw the children. Nala spoke softly, "We are travelers. We have no home. We have walked a long way. We are tired. Please, if you have space, we ask for shelter." The woman looked at them for a moment, unsure. Nala continued, "We will work. We will cook. We will help your home. We only need a place to stay for a while." The woman did not answer right away. She looked at the children, then at Nala. Her face showed a mixture of worry and compassion. Nala held her breath, waiting for the answer. Finally, the woman said, "Wait here. I will talk to my family." Nala nodded and stepped back. She watched the woman close the door and speak to someone inside. Nala could not hear the words, but she could see the woman's expression. It looked like she was thinking deeply. Nala's heart felt heavy. She knew that the answer could be either yes or no. She hoped it would be yes. She hoped someone would open their heart and their home. As they waited, the sun began to set. The sky turned orange and pink and the town became quiet. Nala held her siblings close. She whispered, "No matter what happens, we will stay strong." They waited for what felt like a long time. Then the door opened again. The woman looked at them and said, "Come inside. We will talk." Nala felt a wave of relief. Her eyes filled with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. She nodded and stepped inside with her siblings, hoping that this small act of kindness would be the beginning of something new. And so, their journey continued, still uncertain, still difficult, but filled with a small hope that someone would finally give them a safe place to call home. When the door opened, Nala and her siblings stepped into a small house that smelled of warm bread and clean wood. The inside was simple but cozy. There was a table with a few chairs, a fireplace, and shelves filled with jars of spices and dried food. The woman who had opened the door stood near the table, still looking unsure. Her name was Sarah, and she had a kind face, but her eyes showed worry. Sarah led them to a corner of the room and offered them a place to sit. Nala and her siblings sat carefully, trying not to seem too nervous. The children looked around with wide eyes, seeing things they had never seen before. It was the first time they had been inside a home that was not theirs. Sarah returned to the table and poured water into a bowl for them. She placed it in front of them and said, "You must be tired, drink some water." Nala thanked her softly. "Thank you," she said. "We are very grateful." Sarah nodded, but she still looked unsure. She sat down across from them and asked, "Where are you from? Why are you here?" Nala took a deep breath. She knew she had to be careful with her words. She wanted to be honest, but she did not want to cause fear. She looked at her siblings, then answered. "We are from a village far away," she said. "We had to leave because our home was not safe anymore. We walked a long distance to find shelter." Sarah listened quietly. Her eyes softened slightly. She could see the tiredness in the children's faces and the seriousness in Nala's eyes. She realized that these people were not here to cause trouble. They were here to survive. Sarah continued, "You are welcome to stay for a while, but you must understand that people here are afraid of strangers. They do not know you and they might think you are dangerous." Nala nodded. "We understand," she said. "We do not want to cause trouble. We only want a safe place for a little while." Sarah sighed. "There are some people in town who are kind, but there are also people who do not like anyone who is different." Nala's heart sank, but she did not show it. She knew that she had to remain strong. She looked at Sarah and said, "If we can stay, we will work, we will help your home, we will do anything you need." Sarah looked at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Very well," she said. "You may stay, but you must follow my rules." Nala agreed immediately. "Yes, we will follow your rules." Sarah stood up and walked to a small cabinet. She took out a few blankets and handed them to the children. "You can sleep in the back room," she said. "You will have food, but you must help with chores, and you must be respectful." Nala bowed her head. "Thank you," she said. "We will do our best." Sarah turned to her son, Daniel, who was sitting in the corner. Daniel was a teenager, around 17. He looked at the new visitors with curiosity and a little fear. He had heard stories about the Apache people and was unsure what to think. He had grown up listening to stories of danger and conflict, and he did not know how to feel now that the story was happening in his own home. Sarah spoke to Daniel. "We will help them. We have space. But you must be careful. People will talk." Daniel nodded slowly. He looked at Nala and her siblings again. He saw their tired faces and their humble posture. He felt a strange feeling in his heart, something between fear and sympathy. That night the family ate a simple meal of bread and soup. Nala noticed that the food tasted different from what she was used to, but it was warm and filling. The children ate quietly, still feeling unsure about everything. After the meal, Sarah told them to rest. She showed them the back room where they would sleep. The room was small but clean. There were blankets on the floor and a few small decorations on the wall. Mina looked around and smiled slightly. She felt safe for the first time in many days. Tav sat on the blanket and stared at the wall, thinking about everything that had happened. Nala sat beside her siblings and whispered, "We must stay strong. We must show them we are good people." Mina nodded softly. "I want to help," she said. "I want to cook and clean." Nala smiled. "Yes, we will help," she said. "We will show them we are kind." The next morning, Nala woke up early. She wanted to start helping right away. She went to the kitchen and found Sarah already preparing food. Sarah was surprised to see Nala there so early. "You are up early," Sarah said. Nala smiled. "I want to help," she said. "Please tell me what to do." Sarah looked at her for a moment, then nodded. You can start by helping with the fire, she said. We need to prepare food for the day. Nala quickly began working. She gathered wood, helped Sarah start the fire, and began washing dishes. She worked quietly and carefully, trying to do everything correctly. She wanted to earn Sarah's trust. Daniel watched her from the doorway. He saw how carefully she worked, how she moved with grace, and how she never complained. He felt something inside him change. He began to wonder if the stories he had heard were true. Maybe they were wrong. Throughout the day, Nala continued to help. She swept the floor, carried water, and even helped Sarah repair a small fence outside. The work was hard, but Nala did not mind. She knew that this was their chance to prove themselves. The children also helped. Tav carried firewood, and Mina helped with small tasks like cleaning the table and organizing the shelves. Sarah watched them and slowly began to smile. She could see that the children were not dangerous. They were simply tired and in need of help. But the town was not quiet. People were always watching. Some of the neighbors came by to see who had arrived. They looked at Nala and her siblings with suspicious eyes. Some whispered to each other. Some pointed. Nala could hear their whispers, even if she could not understand every word. One neighbor, an older man named Mr. Jenkins, approached Sarah's house. He looked at the family and spoke in a loud voice. "Sarah, why are you letting them stay here?" he asked. "Do you not know what they are capable of?" Sarah stood up and looked at him calmly. "They are tired and hungry," she said. "They are not here to harm anyone. They need a place to stay." Mr. Jenkins shook his head. "I do not trust them," he said. "You should not help them. You will bring trouble to our town." Sarah's voice grew firm. "I will not turn them away," she said. "I will not let fear control my actions. They are people and they deserve kindness." Mr. Jenkins stared at her for a moment, then walked away, still angry. Nala listened to the conversation from inside the house. She felt a mix of fear and hope. She knew that not everyone would accept them, but she also knew that Sarah was standing up for them. That evening, Sarah gathered her family and the children together. She said, "I know people will talk, but we must be patient. We must show them that we are not a threat. We must show them that we can be helpful and kind." Nala nodded. "Yes," she said. "We will continue to work. We will continue to show our respect." Daniel looked at Nala and said, "I'm sorry for the way I looked at you before. I did not understand, but now I see you are a good person." Nala smiled gently. "Thank you," she said. "We are all learning. We can only grow if we try." Days passed and the family continued to work hard. Nala cooked meals, cleaned the house, and helped in the fields. The children helped in any way they could. Sarah began to trust them more and more. She began to feel a sense of peace knowing that she had done the right thing. Slowly, some of the townspeople began to change their opinions. They saw the family working and helping. They saw how the children laughed and played without causing trouble. They saw Nala's kindness and patience. Their fear began to fade. However, there were still people who did not trust them. Nala knew that she had to be careful. She knew that one mistake could cause everything to fall apart. She continued to work hard, to be respectful, and to show that she meant no harm. One day, as Nala was cooking, she heard a knock on the door. She opened it and saw a woman standing there with a small basket of food. The woman looked nervous, but she smiled. "I brought this for you," the woman said. "I know you are new here, but I wanted to help. My name is Lydia." Nala took the basket and thanked her. "Thank you," she said. "This means a lot to us." Lydia nodded. "I was afraid at first," she said, "but I see how hard you work. I see that you are kind. I wanted to show my support." Nala felt tears in her eyes. She realized that kindness could spread. She realized that even in a world filled with fear, there were still people who could choose compassion. That night, Nala sat by the fire with her siblings. She looked at them and said, "We are not alone anymore. We have found a place where we can live. We must continue to be strong." Tav smiled. "I feel safer now," he said. "I think people will accept us." Mina leaned on Nala's shoulder. "I want to stay here forever," she whispered. Nala hugged her sister gently. Maybe one day, she said, but for now we must be patient. We must keep showing them our kindness. And so, the family continued their life in the town. They worked, they learned, and they waited for the day when they would truly feel accepted. They knew that their journey was not over, but they also knew that they had found the first step toward a new beginning. Days passed in the small town, and the family began to feel a little more comfortable. The mornings were filled with the sound of birds, and the smell of warm bread and cooking soup filled the air. Nala woke up early every day, ready to help Sarah with household work. She had become an important part of the home, and she felt proud to be useful. The children began to smile more often. Tav helped Daniel with tasks outside, and Mina began to learn small chores like washing dishes and sorting herbs. Even though their lives had been difficult, they were slowly starting to feel normal again. They began to feel that this town could be their new home, but not everything was easy. The town still had people who were suspicious. Some would stare at the family when they passed by. Some would whisper. The family learned to ignore those looks and keep moving. They knew that they could not control other people's thoughts, but they could control their own actions. One morning, Sarah invited Nala to sit with her at the table. She looked serious. "Nala," she said, "I have been thinking. I know that some people still do not trust you. But I believe you are good people. I want to help you more, but I need to know if you are truly willing to stay and work. I need your promise." Nala looked at her and nodded. "Yes, I promise," she said. "We will stay. We will work hard. We will be loyal." Sarah smiled gently. "Good," she said, "because I want to offer you shelter for a longer time, but you must understand that this is a big decision for me." Nala felt a rush of gratitude. "Thank you," she said. "We will not forget your kindness." Sarah continued, "There is a small room in the back of the house. It is not much, but it is yours if you want it. You can live there with your siblings. You will have more space and more privacy." Nala's eyes widened with surprise. "That would be wonderful," she said. "But are you sure? I do not want to cause you any trouble." Sarah shook her head. "You are not trouble," she said. "You are family." Nala felt tears forming in her eyes. She looked at her siblings and saw the happiness on their faces. For the first time in a long time, they felt truly safe. They felt that they belonged somewhere. That afternoon, Sarah helped them move their belongings to the small room in the back. It was simple, but clean and comfortable. There was a small bed, a wooden chest, and a few decorations. Mina jumped with joy when she saw the new room. Tav looked at it with a serious face, but Nala could see that he was also happy. After the move, Nala wanted to show her appreciation. She decided to cook a special meal for Sarah and Daniel. She gathered ingredients and started preparing the food carefully. She wanted the meal to be perfect. She wanted to show them how grateful she was. As she cooked, she thought about her own home and her mother's cooking. She remembered the flavors and the warmth of her family. She tried to recreate those feelings in her cooking. She wanted to share a piece of her culture with them. When the meal was ready, Nala served it to Sarah and Daniel. They tasted the food and looked at each other with surprise. The taste was different from what they were used to, but it was delicious. Sarah smiled and said, "This is very good. Thank you, Nala." Daniel nodded. "Yes, thank you," he said. "You are very talented." Nala smiled. "I am happy you like it," she said. "I am glad I can help." That night the family sat together and talked. Sarah told them about her life, about her husband who had passed away, and about the struggles she had faced as a single mother. She told them that she had once been alone and scared, and that she knew what it meant to need help. Nala listened carefully. She felt a deep connection with Sarah. She realized that they both had experienced loss and hardship. She realized that kindness could be shared, and that they were helping each other in different ways. As the days passed, Nala and her siblings continued to work hard. They helped Sarah with chores, helped Daniel with tasks, and even helped other people in the town when they could. They became known for their kindness and willingness to help. People began to trust them more. However, not everyone was happy about their growing acceptance. Mr. Jenkins, the older neighbor who had once criticized Sarah, began to spread rumors about the family. He told others that they were dangerous and that they could cause problems. Some people listened and some people ignored him, but his words still created tension. One day, Mr. Jenkins approached Sarah again. He looked angry and determined. "Sarah," he said, "I told you this would cause trouble. People are talking, they are worried, you should send them away." Sarah stood tall. She looked at him calmly and said, "I will not send them away. They have done nothing wrong, they have only worked hard and been respectful." Mr. Jenkins shook his head. "You are risking your safety," he said. "You should think about yourself." Sarah's voice became firm. "I have thought about myself," she said. "But I also think about what is right. I will not abandon people in need." Mr. Jenkins walked away, still angry. Nala heard the conversation from inside the house. She felt her heart beating faster. She knew that this situation could become dangerous. She knew that Mr. Jenkins could try to cause more trouble. Nala decided that she needed to protect her new home. She thought about what she could do to help. She knew that she could not fight with words, but she could prove her loyalty through actions. She decided to do something that would show the town that she cared deeply about the safety and well-being of everyone. A few days later, a storm came to the town. The sky became dark, and the wind grew strong. The clouds covered the sun, and the air felt heavy. People hurried to secure their homes. Sarah and Daniel worked quickly to tie down loose objects and protect the house. Nala and her siblings helped as well. They carried buckets, tied ropes, and moved items to safer places. The storm grew stronger, and the wind began to push against the house. Nala could hear the sound of branches hitting the walls and the rain hitting the roof. Suddenly, a loud sound echoed through the town. A large tree branch had fallen onto the fence near Sarah's house. The fence was damaged and the branch blocked the path. Sarah looked worried. If the fence collapsed, it could hurt someone or damage the house. Nala ran outside with Tav. She looked at the broken fence and the heavy branch. She knew that it was too heavy for them to move alone. She looked around and saw Daniel struggling with another task. She knew she had to act fast. Nala called out to Daniel, "Daniel, we need help. The fence is broken." Daniel ran over and saw the situation. He could see the danger. He looked at Nala and said, "We can do it." "We just need to work together." Nala nodded. "Yes," she said, "we must fix it quickly." Together, Nala, Tav, and Daniel worked to remove the branch. They used ropes and strength to move it away from the fence. It was hard work, but they did not give up. They worked as a team, helping each other. Mina watched from the doorway, cheering them on. After several minutes, they managed to move the branch away and repair the fence. Sarah stood nearby, watching them with relief. She felt proud of them. She realized that they were not only hardworking but also brave and caring. The storm passed, and the town returned to calm. People came out of their homes to check the damage. Some of them noticed what had happened at Sarah's house. They saw the children working together, helping to fix the fence. They saw Nala leading the effort. They saw the determination in their faces. Slowly, people began to talk. Some of them nodded in approval. Some of them smiled. They realized that these new family members were not a threat. They were helpful and kind. Their fear began to fade. Mr. Jenkins was also watching. He saw the effort and the teamwork. He felt something inside him change. He had always believed that the family was dangerous, but now he could not ignore what he saw. He realized that he had been wrong. After the storm, Nala and Sarah sat together by the fire. Sarah looked at Nala and said, "You have proven your loyalty. You have shown that you care about this town." Nala smiled. "We are grateful," she said. "We want to belong, we want to help." Sarah nodded. "Then you will stay," she said. "You are part of this home now." Nala felt tears in her eyes. She looked at her siblings and felt a deep sense of hope. She knew that their journey was still not over, but she also knew that they had found a place where they were accepted. And so the family continued to live in the town, working hard and proving their loyalty through their actions. They knew that their kindness was stronger than fear, and they believed that one day the whole town would accept them fully. After the storm, the town felt calmer. The sky was clear again and the sun shined warmly on the streets. The people began to go back to their daily routines. The air felt lighter and there was a sense of relief everywhere. But for Nala and her family, life was still full of work. They had learned that to stay, they had to continue proving themselves. Nala woke up early as always. She went to the kitchen and began preparing breakfast. She made bread, cooked beans, and heated the soup. She wanted to make sure the family had a good meal before starting the day. She also wanted to show Sarah that she appreciated the shelter she had been given. As she cooked, she thought about the storm. She remembered the fear she had felt when the wind was strong and the rain was heavy. She remembered the moment when the branch fell on the fence and how she had rushed to help. She felt proud of what they had done. She realized that the town was beginning to see them differently, but she also knew that they still had to be careful. Not everyone had changed their minds. When breakfast was ready, Sarah and Daniel sat at the table with the family. Sarah smiled and said, "Thank you, Nala." "The food is very good," Daniel nodded. "Yes, thank you," he said. "You are very talented." Nala smiled and felt happy. She knew that this was not just about food, it was about trust. She wanted to keep building that trust. After breakfast, Sarah asked Nala to help with the fields. There was a small garden behind the house where they grew vegetables. The garden needed attention. The plants had grown wild after the storm, and the soil needed to be cleaned. Nala agreed immediately. She loved working in nature. She enjoyed seeing the plants grow and helping them become healthy again. Nala worked in the garden with Daniel and Tav. They pulled weeds, watered the plants, and repaired the small fence around the garden. Mina helped by carrying small baskets of vegetables. They worked together as a team. The work was tiring, but they felt satisfied. While they worked, some townspeople passed by. They looked at the family with curiosity. Some smiled, some nodded. Others kept walking without saying anything. Nala noticed the change. She felt that the town was slowly accepting them. But one day something unexpected happened. A young boy from the town named Eli came running towards Sarah's house. He looked upset and worried. His face was pale and his eyes were wide. "Nala, Sarah, please help," Eli shouted. "My mother is not feeling well. She is very sick." Sarah's face grew serious. "Where is she?" she asked. Eli pointed toward his home, a small house at the end of the street. "She is there," he said. "She is weak and cannot move. I don't know what to do." Sarah turned to Nala and said, "Nala, please come with me. We must help." Nala nodded and quickly followed Sarah and Eli. Tav and Mina stayed behind to finish the work in the garden. When they reached Eli's home, they saw his mother lying on a bed. She looked pale and weak. Her breathing was slow and her face was covered with sweat. Eli stood beside her, holding her hand and looking terrified. Sarah knelt beside the woman and checked her condition. She knew that the situation was serious. She looked at Nala and said, "We need to make her comfortable. We need to bring water, and we need to help her rest." Nala nodded and quickly went to gather water and blankets. She also looked around the room and noticed that the air felt stuffy. She opened a window to let fresh air in. She spoke softly to Eli, "Your mother is not alone. We will help her." Eli looked at Nala with hope in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. Nala returned to the room with the water and blankets. She helped Sarah care for Eli's mother. She gently fanned her face to cool her down. She offered her water in small sips. She spoke softly, trying to comfort her. As they worked, Nala realized that she could also use her knowledge of herbs. She remembered what her grandmother had taught her. She knew a few natural remedies that could help with fever and weakness. She carefully prepared a simple herbal tea and offered it to Eli's mother. Sarah looked at her with surprise. "Where did you learn that?" she asked. Nala smiled. "My grandmother taught me," she said. We used herbs to help people when they were sick. Sarah nodded. Thank you, she said. This could help. They continued to care for the woman throughout the day. Nala stayed by her side, helping in any way she could. She never once complained. She was focused on helping, not on how tired she was. As the day went on, Eli's mother began to feel better. Her breathing became stronger and her face looked less pale. She opened her eyes and looked around. She saw Nala and Sarah standing beside her. "Who are you?" she asked softly. Nala smiled gently. "My name is Nala," she said. "I am here to help." Eli's mother looked at her for a moment. She then smiled weakly. "Thank you," she said. "You are kind." Eli stood beside his mother and said, "My mother says you are kind. Thank you for helping her." Nala felt warmth in her heart. She realized that this moment was important. It was not just about helping one person. It was about showing the town that they cared about everyone, even those who had once doubted them. News of the help spread quickly through the town. People began to talk about how Nala and her family had helped Eli's mother. They spoke about how they worked hard and how they were willing to help others. The town began to see them in a new light. Mr. Jenkins heard about the help as well. He had been skeptical for a long time, but now he began to change. He saw that the family was not dangerous. They were kind and caring. He began to realize that his fear had been wrong. One afternoon, Mr. Jenkins came to Sarah's house again. This time, his expression was different. He looked tired and thoughtful. He stood at the door and spoke softly. "Sarah," he said, "I have been thinking. I may have been wrong about them. I saw how they helped Eli's mother. I saw how they worked. I am sorry for the way I spoke before." Sarah looked at him and nodded. "Thank you," she said. "It takes courage to admit when you are wrong, Mr. Jenkins sighed. "I still feel uneasy," he said, "but I can see that they are good people. I will try to be more open." Nala heard the conversation from inside the house. She felt a deep sense of relief. She knew that acceptance was growing. She knew that the town was slowly changing. The days continued, and the family kept helping everyone they could. Nala continued to cook and care for the home. She helped Daniel with tasks outside. She also helped the townspeople when they needed assistance. She became known as a person who was always ready to help. One day, as Nala was walking through the town, she saw a group of children playing. They were laughing and running. Nala smiled as she watched them. She remembered how she and her siblings had once played like that. She felt a small happiness inside her. The children noticed Nala and began to wave. They ran toward her and asked if she wanted to play. Nala laughed and joined them. For a moment, she forgot about all the worries. She felt like a normal person, not a stranger. She felt like she belonged. As she played with the children, she saw Sarah watching from a distance. Sarah smiled and waved. Nala waved back. She felt grateful for the home she had found. That evening, Nala returned home and sat with her siblings. She said, "I think the town is changing. People are beginning to accept us." Tav smiled. "Yes," he said, "we are becoming part of the town." Mina hugged Nala and said, "I am happy. I feel safe." Nala hugged her back and said, "We must continue to be kind. We must continue to help. That is how we will truly belong." And so, the family continued their life in the town, proving their loyalty and showing their love through actions. They knew that they still had challenges, but they also knew that they had found a place where they could be accepted. They were no longer just strangers. They were becoming part of a community. The days in the small town grew calmer and more peaceful. The sun shone brightly, and the air smelled of fresh bread and flowers. Nala and her siblings began to feel that this place might truly become their new home. The fear that once filled their hearts was slowly being replaced by a feeling of safety and belonging. Nala woke up early one morning and looked out of the window. She saw the town coming to life. People were opening their shops, children were running to school, and the streets were filled with laughter. She smiled, feeling a warmth in her heart. She knew that their hard work had finally started to pay off. She went to the kitchen and started preparing breakfast. The smell of cooking filled the house. She noticed that Sarah was watching her with a proud look. Sarah had become like a mother to them. She had opened her home when no one else would. She had trusted them when others were afraid. And she had stood up for them even when it was difficult. After breakfast, Nala and her siblings went outside to help with the daily tasks. They worked in the garden, helped repair the fences, and carried water for the town. They did not ask for anything in return. They simply wanted to help. As they worked, they noticed that the townspeople began to greet them more warmly. People smiled and waved. Some even stopped to talk. Nala felt happy and surprised. She had not expected this kind of acceptance. She felt grateful to be treated like a normal part of the town. One afternoon, Sarah invited Nala to sit with her on the porch. They watched the sunset together. The sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. The air was calm and quiet. It was a peaceful moment. Sarah turned to Nala and said, "You have done something special here. You did not just survive. You changed people's hearts." Nala looked at her and said, "I did not do it alone. My siblings helped, and you helped too." Sarah smiled. "Yes, but you were the one who led them," she said. "You showed them kindness. You showed them that fear is not stronger than love." Nala felt tears in her eyes. She looked down and said, "I am grateful. I still miss my home. I still think about my mother and my village, but I feel that I am safe here." Sarah nodded. "I understand," she said. "It is not easy to leave your home, but you have found a place where you can live peacefully." Nala thought for a moment and asked, "Do you think we will ever be fully accepted?" Sarah looked at her carefully. "Some people may never understand," she said, "but you have already changed many minds. You have made a difference." Nala smiled softly. "Then we will keep trying," she said. "We will keep being kind." The next day, Nala decided to visit the town school. She had always loved learning, and she wanted her siblings to have an education. She knew that education could open doors and help them build a better future. She asked Sarah for permission, and Sarah agreed. Nala walked to the school with Tav and Mina. The teacher, Mr. Harper, greeted them warmly. He had heard about the family and was curious to meet them. He invited them inside and introduced them to the class. The children in the class looked at them with curiosity. Some were shy and some were excited. Nala stood in front of them and spoke kindly. "Hello," she said. "My name is Nala. These are my siblings Tav and Mina. We are new here. We would like to learn with you." The children smiled. Some of them waved. One little girl named Leela stepped forward and said, "Welcome, you can sit with me." Nala smiled and thanked her. She felt happy. She realized that the children did not see them as different. They saw them as friends. During the lesson, Nala listened carefully. She was eager to learn. She realized that the school was not just a place for education. It was also a place where she could connect with the town. It was a place where she could show that she was a normal person, just like everyone else. After school, the children invited Nala and her siblings to play. They ran in the fields, laughed, and shared stories. For the first time, Nala felt like she truly belonged. She felt like she was part of something bigger than her family. She felt like she was part of a community. When they returned home, Sarah greeted them with a smile. She could see the happiness in their faces. She asked, "How was your day?" Nala replied, "It was wonderful." The children were kind. They invited us to play. It felt like home. Sarah nodded. "I am happy for you," she said. "You deserve this happiness." As the weeks passed, the family continued to grow closer to the town. They attended events, helped with celebrations, and joined community gatherings. They began to feel that they were not only accepted but also respected. One evening, the town held a small celebration to honor the people who had helped during the storm. Sarah was asked to speak, and she invited Nala to stand beside her. The townspeople gathered around, and the atmosphere was warm and joyful. Sarah stood up and spoke. "I want to thank everyone for their support," she said. "I also want to thank Nala and her family. They have been a blessing to us. They worked hard, helped others, and showed us what kindness truly means." The crowd clapped. Nala felt her heart beating fast. She looked around and saw the faces of people who had once been suspicious. Now they were smiling and clapping. Some were even wiping tears from their eyes. Mr. Jenkins stood in the crowd. He looked at Nala with a calm expression. He approached her after the celebration and said, "I was wrong, I am sorry." Nala smiled gently. "Thank you," she said. "It is okay. We all learn, Mr. Jenkins nodded. "I want to be your friend," he said. "I want to help you." Nala felt a warm feeling in her heart. She nodded. "We would like that," she said. From that day on, the town's attitude changed even more. People began to treat the family with kindness and respect. They began to trust them completely. Nala and her siblings felt that they had finally found a place where they could live peacefully. One day, Sarah sat with Nala and said, "I have been thinking. You have been here for many months now. I think it is time for you to feel more like family." Nala looked at her with surprise. "What do you mean?" she asked. Sarah smiled. "I want to officially welcome you into my home," she said. "I want you to stay forever if you want. You are not just guests. You are family." Nala felt tears in her eyes. She looked at her siblings and said, "We would love that. We are grateful for everything." Sarah hugged them all. It was a moment of love and acceptance. It was a moment that made Nala feel that her journey had finally reached a safe place. The family continued to live in the town. They worked, they learned, and they grew. They never forgot their past, but they also never stopped looking forward. They knew that life could be difficult, but they also knew that kindness could change the world. As the seasons changed, the town became a place of peace and unity. People from different backgrounds began to work together. They helped each other in times of need. They shared food, stories, and laughter. The town became stronger because of the kindness they had learned from Nala and her family. And so, the Apache sister and her siblings found a new beginning. They found a home where they were loved and accepted. They found a community that saw them as people, not strangers. They found hope. Nala looked out of the window one evening and saw the sunset. She felt grateful for everything. She thought about her mother and her village, and she whispered softly, "We will never forget where we came from. But we will also never forget what we have found here." She turned to her siblings and said, "We have a new life now. We will continue to be kind, and we will continue to help others." And the family lived on, not as strangers, but as a part of a community that had learned the true meaning of kindness.